Our objective is to pass tax reform by the August recess, and I think that's a very aggressive timetable, but realistic and something that the President and I are very committed to doing.
So by August, voted, done, agreed.
And signed.
Well, that was the hope anyway back then, back in early March, not so now. The read on all of this with Montana Republican Senator Steve Daines. Senator, good to have you. Now, the strategy now is to get a vote, at least in the Senate, by November. Is that doable?
Well, Neil, having spent 28 years in the private sector, we used to say the importance of focus. The main thing is to keep the main thing the main thing. We campaigned for the last 7 years to repeal and replace Obamacare, to move tax reform forward. In fact, we should call tax reform the American Jobs Creation Act. This is about growing the economy, making America competitive again. This is what we've got to do. I left the private sector to enter public service for these reasons, to swing the bat at the big balls. It is health care reform. It is tax reform. Failure is not an option.
I know that. That was the same clarion call, and you echoed it on health care, but you failed at that one, not you specifically. But is that November timetable, however urgent you feel it is, doable?
It is. Well, it is doable, and we've got to do it. And in fact, on health care reform, remember, this health care bill is like a cat with 9 lives. It was given up for dead once in the House, and it came back. The Senate has got to be able to walk and chew gum at the same time. We've got to be able to juggle at least a couple of balls. And I think we can continue to work on health care reform. This Graham Cassidy idea is something we need to consider. It's got the White House supporting it. We need to bring it to the senators and start talking about it. We can do that, and we can move forward in tax reform.
I don't know if you can, Senator. I know you're working hard on this, and I know you're not part of the group that has rejected these measures to keep the debate going. How do you feel about the surprise no vote of your colleague, Senator John McCain, on that skinny repeal measure?
Well, it was disappointing. It surprised a lot of folks. I respect Senator McCain greatly. He is an American hero, but I disagree strongly with his vote. That was a vote to move the process forward, to continue to dialogue with our friends in the House and get a bill on the floor of the Senate and the House and on the President's desk in the next month. That doesn't mean you give up. I mean, when you have setbacks in life, if you have setbacks in business, you don't just fold up your tent and go home. In fact, you double down on your efforts, and that's what we must do. We must intensify and continue to stay focused here on health care reform and on tax reform.
Well, you know, Democrats are offering sort of like a set of conditions to get in on this tax cut work with you. But one of their provisos, Senator, is no tax cuts for the top 1%.
Yeah,
How do you feel about that?
Yeah, I never want to forget that you can't be pro-jobs unless you're pro-job creator. And unless you continue to incentivize the men and women who are out there creating the jobs, then how are we going to be able to create jobs? We have a tax code that is not competitive in this global economy anymore. That's got to change.
So you would be against agreeing to that condition?
I would, absolutely. You've got to keep all options on the table.
There are some of your Republican colleagues who are nervous about granting the upper income a tax cut, that it wouldn't look good. Well, how do you feel?
I'll tell you what, if you get nervous by every attack you get, you're in the wrong business. You really are. This is going to take courage, doing the right thing for our economy, the right thing for hard-working Americans to stay competitive and to increase wages, increase jobs. That takes courage. You can't just continue to listen to the attacks, talk about what the vision is going forward. And this is what we get paid to do. I tell you what, if we can't bring this thing together, as Leader McConnell said a couple months ago, you're in the wrong line of work. Go find something else to do. But this is about action. It's about results.
All right, so if you stick
We've got to get something done.
I'm sorry, sir. If you stick to that November timetable, would those cuts or should those cuts be retroactive to the beginning of the year or start the next year?
I would move them retroactive. The sooner you can get the money back in the hands of the American people, the sooner their economy will start to recover. The sooner we can get GDP growth north of 3%. So I'd make it retroactive to the 1st of January. Let's get moving. Let's make something happen here. Time is ticking. I tell you, we're going to move into the election season here pretty soon. So time is of the essence. Let's get it done.
All right. Senator, thank you for taking the time.
You bet.